Hi guys, throughout the month of January we had 4 companies pay us a dividend. Those companies are GSK, United Utilities, National Grid, First Internet, and we also got an interest payment of a penny. Now, I've been building this very moderate portfolio on minimum wage, and on this channel you'll see me go from minimum wage to being a millionaire. I promise you that. But with all that being said, let's get into the video and find out how much I made on all my dividends. Okay guys, so what we're going to do is run through all the payments that I received in January, how much stock I had to buy in these companies to get these shares, and then at the end we're going to be combining my dividend income and the growth of my portfolio. If there is any, there might be a loss, there will at some point I'm sure be a loss, and then we're going to be seeing what the percentage of my wage that makes up. So for the sake of easy maths, say I make £5,000 per month after tax, which I don't, nowhere near. I'll show you everything in a minute, and combine the growth of my portfolio and dividend income was £50, then that would be 1% of my income. So that in the future you'll be able to see that specific number rise slowly and then start to climb until it's at 100% and beyond. Okay, so first up is GSK. Now in the month of January they paid me a dividend of 15p, so thank you GSK. Now they pay out 4 times per year, in January, April, July and October. Now I currently have a holding in GSK of £13.89p, and I would expect around about the same dividend in the April, July and October if I didn't invest into them again. But of course throughout this year I'm going to be ramping up all of my investments, so I will be doing that, and that's going to be a lot more than 15p. But in January made 15p from GSK with a holding of £13, that's 13, £13.89p. Okay, next up is United Utilities. Now in the month of January they paid me a dividend of 17p, so thank you United Utilities. Now they pay out twice per year, so in the January or February depending on when it falls. I think last year it was February, this year it was January, and in the August as well, so twice a year. Now it won't be 17p next time, as they have an interim payment and they have a final payment. So the interim payment is a lot smaller, and then the final payment is about it's normally about twice as big. So this is the interim in the January, and the final payment will be in August, twice as big. So if I don't invest anything more into United Utilities, I would expect to get around 34p in the August. Now in order for me to earn more than that from United Utilities, I would need to invest before the ex-dividend date, and that is, I believe, this year the 25th of June, so a little before the dividend is paid. So if you invest in that company before the 25th of June, then you are eligible to get the dividend payment. I think it's on the 1st of August this year. Double check that if you're thinking about doing it, but that's when it is. So if you invest before the 25th of June, you then receive the dividend payment in the August. Now the amount of stock I hold in United Utilities to receive this 17p dividend payment, so that's the small payment of the year or the interim, is £10.21p. Okay, up next we have National Grid. Now in the month of January they paid me a dividend of 15p. Thanks to that, National Grid. Now they pay out twice a year as well, so they get one payment in the January and one payment in July. And in a similar way to United Utilities, you have an interim payment, which is a smaller payment, and a final payment. Now this one in January being the smaller of the two, so the interim, so I would expect probably more than double in July if I don't invest again in National Grid before the next ex-dividend date, which of course I plan to do quite heavily. So I would expect to be around 40p in the July if I don't invest again, but of course I do. So it was a 15p payment in January from National Grid. Now our last payment in January came from First Internet. Now this is actually a really interesting one because I actually never bought this stock. This is actually a free share that I got because one of you incredible people chose to invest with Freetrade after they clicked on that link in the description. And they also received the exact same share. Now, if you want to get started on your investing journey, that link is down there. And the free shares range from £10 to £100. So there's some free money for you. Thanks for watching the video. Now, in the month of January, they paid me a dividend of 4p. So thank you, First Internet, for that. And the stock's value is currently sitting at £26.85p. So that's a gain of about 4% since I got it a few months ago for free, which is amazing. So in the January, my dividends were in total 51p, but the growth of my portfolio was £18.89p. So the combined total is £19.40. Now, in the month of January, my income after tax was £1,569, which means last month I had 1.23% of that come in the form of dividends and growth on the stock on my portfolio. Now guys, this is a little bit optimistic, but I want to have a month where 5%, it reaches 5% instead of 1.23%, which I still think is really impressive, especially this early on. But at some point I want 5% now. And then the following year, I want double figures. I want 10%, and then I really think that snowball is going to start to take effect. Now, obviously, it won't be consistently 5% or 10%. I'm hoping for a huge surge in stock prices at some point in the year to get me over 5% of my total income from my wages. But fingers crossed that will happen, and you'll be here to see it all unfold, and we go from minimum wage in the warehouse to being a millionaire. Now guys, if you want to see me take my first baby steps into the stock market and see me actually buy some of these shares, then click this video right here. But apart from that, I'm Steve, this is the Extra Income Boss. I'll see you guys again in that one right there. Peace.